It was not planned by me or my husband, but the Lord planned it. And I wonder who put this question in my question box. We plan on getting chickens, which I'm so excited for that. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Macy. If you're new, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining me. I'm like mildly out of breath because I just carried this laundry over here. Today we are going to sit down and fold some laundry and do a little classic Q&A. I posted on my Instagram story earlier asking for questions and you guys came through with some good ones. This channel is fairly new, so I wanted just an opportunity to sit down and talk to you guys, get to know you a little bit better, and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you're new here, I'm so glad that you are. Make sure you subscribe down below before we get started. Give this video a thumbs up, and I'm excited to share a little bit more of my life with you guys. Make sure you grab a drink. I have a matcha today. It's a iced matcha with honey. So good. To be honest, I'm normally an espresso girl. I normally have like a little latte in the afternoon, but I'm trying to be healthy. So we're having matcha today. I actually do like matcha, so it's really not that big of a deal, but we need to fold this laundry and let's get right into it. Okay, so the first questions that we'll tackle will have to do with sourdough. So again, if you're new here, I do a lot of sourdough baking. I actually own a sourdough micro bakery. So what that means is that I have a bakery in my house, and once a week I bake a whole bunch of bread, like 75 to 100 loaves, and people then come pick it up at my house or at the other pickup locations that I offer. So I have 3 pickup locations, which is new for me. My family just moved into a bigger home, and so I was able to expand a little bit more. I have a dedicated space in my house for my bakery now, which is really exciting. So I share a lot more about like my bakery and stuff over on Instagram, which is also where I asked you guys for questions. So if you're not following me there, I would highly recommend that you do that. I share lots of just like real-time updates on life and also just a lot more micro bakery content. So the 2 questions I got were, how did I learn all about sourdough? And so to answer that question, I am totally self-taught. This is just years of me practicing and trying to get better. I watched a lot of YouTube. When I first started baking sourdough, it was in the middle of the pandemic, like every other person in the world, it feels like. Yeah, it was just a lot of YouTube videos. I watched like Joshua Weissman? Is that how you say his name? I don't know. He was like the first recipe that I followed. So that's kind of fun. And then when I first started looking into the concept of a micro bakery, I followed Lily's Loaf, which she had a thriving YouTube channel all about her micro bakery. She has since closed her micro bakery, but she still has a lot of great videos out on YouTube if you are interested. There's also some like really great books. Like my favorite cookbook, sourdough cookbook, is The Perfect Loaf by Maurizio. That book is a really great resource and it's like, if you want to take your sourdough baking to the next level, I would highly recommend that. Also, if you're wanting to learn how to make sourdough, I do have a sourdough ebook where I share my 4 staple bakery recipes. So they're actually the recipes that I use in my bakery. And one of those recipes is my classic sourdough loaf, and I go into like intense detail for how I make my bread. So there's lots of pictures, things like that. So if you're a visual learner, you'll probably enjoy it. And I have had experienced bakers and new bakers alike say that it was helpful for them. So you can give that a try. I'll link it down below as well. But honestly, sourdough baking is not just like a recipe that you can follow and then know how to do. It's definitely a skill that you learn over time. And so that's how I learned. I just learned with lots of practice, and now here I am. The other question that I got was, how did I scale my business? So it's either going to be the last video that I put out or maybe the next one coming out. I come out with videos on Mondays. So either the video is already out or it'll be the next one. But I'm doing a video all about how I started my micro bakery and a little bit more of the nitty gritty. But to give you guys a brief overview, I started my bakery in April of 2023. So it's been like not even a year and a half. And it really was started by accident. I was like, oh, maybe a few people in my neighborhood would want to buy bread. And now here we are. baking like 100 loaves of bread a week, which is crazy. So it happened very organically. I was never trying too hard to, increase my production like crazy. That was never really my goal. It just happened over time. It was one of those things where one week I baked 3 loaves. The next week I baked 5. Then the week after that I baked 8, and it just continued to grow. Last summer I did do a few farmers markets. I didn't do a farmers market every weekend. They were more of like a special event for me. And that really helped grow my business just through word of mouth. I post in all of my like local Facebook groups that allow businesses to post. I'll post as regularly as I'm able and things like that. So that's kind of generally how it went for me. And again, either stay tuned for the next video, or if the video is already out, I'll link it below, sharing more about my experience opening up my micro bakery. Also, pro tip, I do not fold my toddlers' clothes. They get into a pile and then I organize them in their dresser, because if you have toddlers, or at least, I don't know, maybe this is just my toddlers, they go into their drawers all the time. Like my 3-year-old, she changes her outfit 5 times a day, and so the drawers never stay organized anyway, and so I'm not going to waste my time folding clothes that I know are just going to get unfolded in like 2 seconds. So all the kids' clothes into a pile. Okay, this is a fun question. Somebody asked if we are planning on having any more children. I do have 2 daughters. They are 3.5 and 2, or she'll be 2 in like a few weeks. So I love being a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. If you had asked me when I was younger what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said a mom. It's my favorite thing ever. And they are the lights of my life, and I'm so thankful for them. I do think that we potentially will have one more. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I do know that the Lord knows, and I trust Him in that. My girls are exactly 18 months apart, and so for a long time, I was like, there's no way I'm having any more kids. And it's funny because I actually love their age gap, and I'm so thankful that they're that close in age. It was not planned by me or my husband, but the Lord planned it, and we actually have ended up loving having a really close age gap between our girls. But at the same time, I'm tired, okay? And also it's been really nice to give my body a break, because I was either pregnant or nursing for basically 3.5 years straight, which is a very long time. And so I've enjoyed giving my body a break, but I would say that baby number 3 is a solid maybe, and we'll see where that goes, but not right now at least. I do know that like I don't want to wait too long in between children. I'm okay to have a little bit more of a gap if we do have another one right now. But if we do decide to have another kid, it probably would be in the next couple of years, most likely. But the Lord knows, and I trust Him in that, and I'm confident that He will make our path clear no matter what my husband and I decide, and we will be thrilled either way. Staying on the topic of parenting, somebody asked how I would describe my parenting style, which I think is another really great question. There are a lot of, I think, almost like parenting trends that you see on social media, like gentle parenting and things of that nature. And what I like to say is that I just try to be a biblical parent, and obviously how people interpret scripture is going to vary. But I think something that's very important to me as a parent is remembering 2 things. Number 1, that I am God's ambassador as a parent over my child. And so I am representing Christ when I am interacting with my children. My relationship with them should be a reflection of my relationship with God. And so I think about that often as I make parenting decisions, and how does God care for me? How does He discipline me? How does He lead me and guide me and disciple me? How does He care for me? I want to do those things for my children and give them an amazing representation of who God is as their father. So that is something that is at the forefront of my parenting. The other thing that I emphasize a lot in parenting is the concept of discipleship. I think that when people think about like parenting style, they oftentimes think about discipline or punishment, like how do you punish your child or how do you discipline your child? And obviously discipline is a concept that's found in the Bible that is very important. The concept of discipline, it's the same word as disciple, they have the same root, and that is really my goal. My goal is to disciple my children, to have hearts that genuinely want to obey and that genuinely love the Lord. Obedience is important. God requires us to obey him, and so my children are also required to obey me as their parent and their father. But more than anything, I want them to obey because they want to obey, and that's really my motivation as a parent, is getting to their heart and praying that the Lord would change their heart to desire obedience as they grow older. Obviously, my children are still very young. My 3-year-old definitely is at that stage where she can be discipled a lot and that she can be taught a lot. She understands sin and disobedience. And so we're really entering more into that season of life in caring for our children well in that way. My 1.5-year-old, that's a little bit of a different story. She's kind of in that stage where it's like she understands when she's being naughty, but she doesn't necessarily have the ability to choose obedience yet. She's getting there. She's learning. But if you have a 1.5-year-old or almost 2-year-old, you probably know what I'm talking about. It is a very tricky stage. But I am thankful that the Lord has entrusted me with my children, and I think that's another really important thing. Like, my children are the Lord's, and I trust him with them. I pray for them often. That's a huge thing in parenting that needs to be emphasized. I pray for my children all the time because at the end of the day, I know that I can't control the outcome of their lives, but I do know that the Lord can. And I know that the Lord loves them even more than I can love them. And so I plead with him all the time that they would grow to love him and grow to know him, and that they would serve him and glorify him with all their days. And so I guess that's a brief overview of my parenting style. I don't know if that necessarily answers exactly what the person was getting at, but that's definitely important to me. There's some really great parenting resources out there. Obviously, scripture, but beyond that, a Christian book that I really liked for the most part. To be honest, in most parenting books, there are going to be things that I agree with and things that I disagree with. So just keep that in mind, that we should be critical thinkers when we're reading things. But a parenting book that I like most of the content in is Parenting by Paul Tripp. That's a really good one. And then a secular book that I also really liked is called The Whole-Brained Child. And I can't remember who wrote that book, but if you Google it, it will come up. It is really, really great, and I think it can be easily read through the lens of a Christian perspective. So those are 2 books that I would highly recommend. Since I have been talking about my faith a lot, another question I got was like, what religion are you a part of? What denomination are you in? I am a Christian, and I guess I would fall under the category of like a Reformed Christian. I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. I believe that we are saved by grace through faith in Jesus Christ alone, that our works cannot save us, that our salvation is a free gift from the Lord. And I go to, I guess technically, a non-denominational church. I grew up in a Baptist church, both Reformed churches. Oh man, I don't know what is on this shirt, but that does not look clean. We will rewash. Yeah, so I grew up in a Baptist church. My current church we've been attending for like 8 years now. My husband and I started going together before we were even engaged, which is kind of fun. And we love our church so much. Our church family is a huge part of our lives, and we are just so thankful for them. Our church is part of like a network of churches, so it's not a denomination, but just like a network of like-minded churches called Acts 29. And yeah, that's kind of where we fall as far as denomination goes. Okay, another question about parenting, kind of, or kids, I guess. Somebody asked me if I cloth diaper because they noticed in one of my videos on my Instagram story, one of my little ones walking around in a cloth diaper. And yes, we do cloth diaper. We have cloth diapered since my oldest was 6 months old, and we love it. It is one of those things where I'm like, why don't people not do this? Because it's really not that bad, and the amount of money you will save cloth diapering is kind of disgusting. So yeah, we do cloth diaper. We use a brand called Nora's Nursery, and we really like them. They have lasted us through 2 kids, so I would say that's a huge win. They're super cute. They're easy to clean. I think that the only thing that is not that fun is that you have to like spray the poop off of the diapers, which grosses some people out, but it's like you kind of get used to it. You're changing poopy diapers anyway. You're going to be around poop. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you guys ever want a video talking more in depth about how I cloth diaper, I would be happy to do that. Just drop it in the comments if you're interested. Next question, somebody asked me what I'm currently reading or if I have any reading recommendations. And again, if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I love to read and I post about my current reads on my Instagram story fairly often. I love reading fantasy and romance, and here's the thing. Reading for me is entertainment. In my season of life, I don't read very much nonfiction beyond the Bible or whatever I'm using for my personal study of scripture. I read for entertainment. It is my way to relax at the end of the night, to tune out. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies for no reason other than I just don't enjoy it. It's not for me. But I love to read, and so I've been reading a lot in this year, like starting in January. I just have been avidly reading, and I love it. It makes me so happy. So I love reading, yeah, romance, fantasy, romantasy, with the occasional like thriller or mystery. Those are kind of my favorite genres. I'm currently reading through the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And it's great. I'm about to start the 4th book. And typically what I do is I'll have a fantasy series that I'm working through, and in between books I'll read like a romance or a thriller, almost as like a palate cleanser before I go into the next book in the series, just so that I like don't burn myself out. And that works really, really well for me. So reading through Throne of Glass, I've already read ACOTAR and it was amazing. I loved it. As far as some recommendations go, so far this year, my favorite romance book has been The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. It is so good. If it matters to you, it is closed door, which means there's no sexually explicit scenes or anything like that. And it is so good. It talks a lot about, it's one of those books where it's a romance book, but it has some deeper themes going on throughout it. It talks a lot about grief and losing a loved one, and so that really hit home for me as someone who's experienced grief like that before. And I already know that I'm going to reread it someday because I like was tabbing it like crazy because there's so many just beautiful quotes in that book and I love it. So that would be my recommendation as of right now for you if you're looking for a good fun summer read. Okay, next question. Someone asked if there are any specific projects that I'm excited to get to for our new house. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we just moved at the end of June into this new house, and it has been so amazing. We are so thankful for this space. We literally doubled the size of our house by moving here, and it has been life-changing. We also are on like 1.5 acres, which is so fun, and we've spent so much time outside. It's just been a huge blessing from the Lord. There are definitely projects that I want to get done. I'm kind of in that phase of moving where I want to do absolutely nothing because I'm tired of doing stuff to the house. We painted, and by we, I mean basically me, with the help of a few friends, because the week before we moved into this house, my husband was in an accident and had a concussion and broken ribs, and it was just a whole thing, but he's fine now, by the way. So I'm kind of projected out. I guess that's how I would say that. I just actually this past weekend finished painting some built-in bookshelves that are in our living room, and those turned out really good. I was proud of myself for powering through and getting it done. The only other painting project I have left is the half bathroom on our main floor. It is currently like bright salmon pink, and that's not really my style, so I'm excited to get rid of that. Beyond that, we do have some bigger projects that we plan on working on. The first big project we'll do in this house is our kitchen. The house was built in the 70s and hasn't really been updated very much since then. So we're gonna do a full kitchen remodel, probably in like a year or two. And then also the bathroom, like the master bathroom, has not been updated either, and it is currently pink. Pink toilet, pink tub, pink counters, pink tile. It is a sight to behold. So that's gonna have to go at some point. And then beyond that, we have some stuff we want to do outside. I'm excited to do more stuff outside next spring. We plan on getting chickens, which I'm so excited for that. I have wanted chickens for years, and it just was never like a practical choice for where we lived. And so, oh man, get ready for some chicken content because I'm going to be serving it. I'm so excited. Those are kind of the main things. Other things that are like little, you know, decorating and things like that. So I already finished my bakery space, which you will see in videos going forward. I have a whole room dedicated to my micro bakery, which is so fun and such a dream come true. So we love this house and we will be here, Lord willing, for a very, very, very long time. Last question. And I wonder who put this question in my question box. What about your husband makes you smile? Hi, Ian. That question was from my husband. But I'll give you a little background on our relationship. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We started dating my senior year, his junior year. So I'm a year older. And we dated for a few years. I went away to college. I did dump him for like a month when I went to college. Sorry, Ian. Sorry, babe. But we ended up getting back together. It all worked out. We got married when I was 21. Nope. Wait, yes. 21? No, I was 22 and he was 20. So we got married in 2019. And we've been married for just over 5 years. So fun. We got pregnant with our first just after our 1-year anniversary. So I love him. He's my best friend and he makes me laugh all the time, and I'm sure you guys will see him here on the channel as well. He is so incredibly supportive of me and everything that I do. He is really the reason why I've been able to start my bakery, start this YouTube channel, do all this stuff on Instagram, because he's been so incredibly supportive of me and I'm so thankful for him. He's such a hard worker and he's just the best. I love you. I love you, babe. I know you're watching this. He watches all of my videos and it makes me cringe because he likes to try to do it in front of me. And I'm like, dude, you live with me. You see me filming these videos. You don't need to watch them too, but he still does because he loves me. That is all I have for you guys today. I finished folding my laundry too, so that's a win. Thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoyed it. If I mentioned anything about linking, I will put it down in the caption below. Make sure that you subscribe if you enjoyed it. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below. All of those things really help my videos in the algorithm as I'm getting this channel going. It helps YouTube recognize me and push me up to the top. So any kind of gesture like that, I really, really appreciate. And I will see you guys in the next one.